All right, so this is going to be a Bitcoin update for February 12th. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what we got here. All right, so pretty much last night in live stream, we were talking about this area right up in here, and I mentioned in the Discord channel that things would be a slow grind to 10,500, and today's high was, on a slow grind, 10,484. So here's what's going on. I've got this little blue line right where a 261.8 fib retracement is, and basically where that blue line came from was a one-to-one extension of this move and then drawn it down here. So this move equaled this move, and so we're getting the pause right here. Any break of this area obviously leads us up to around 11,000, probably 10.9. Let's just call it 11,000 just for giggles and grins. But let's zoom out a little bit and see what we got going on. Let's put this in perspective, right? And so if you zoom out, and you could do this on a weekly chart, but this is a daily and I'm just zooming out. But after the big long drop, we came out and we're starting a new bull market, right? So we get a correction here. My feeling is that, again, we come up and test this, probably pull back a little bit, and then break on to higher highs up around 17,000. So that's my view on Bitcoin. Just, you know, it's one of those that you always want to have a little Bitcoin in your bag. You just never know when this thing's going to run, right? It could drop. I still feel like buying the dips is the best bet right now, so in my opinion. So that's Bitcoin. Let's go over to Ethereum. Wow. You know, just keeps making new highs. Breaking another fib retracement right here. 61.8. Let's go ahead and take it out. And let's do the same thing on this one. Right? Nothing but air after it crossed and broke this resistance line right here. So air. And then zooming out, okay, just keeping it in perspective, right? So you get this up move, you get that correction down, and then here she goes again. So longer term target on Ethereum, probably 400, right? That would be a nice, a very, very nice retracement of this upper area right over here, which was what, 1400, I believe. So you look at this and it's like building a nice little base, right? There's been some ups and downs for the past year or so, but it's building a nice base. And now, you know, we're starting to get back above the 200 and the 233. We saw this again right over here. So one would have to assume that breaking this area, the 200 and the 233, leads to higher highs, right? And see the move that it made. Can it make a similar move? Just throwing it out there. Always keep your eye on the long ball. Let's go look at Litecoin. Once it broke that resistance right there, came back, retested it, successfully held, and now it's broken past this little resistance area right over here. So to me, nothing but air up to 91. Okay, we talked about this. It broke some fib clusters and some fib retracements today. Nothing but air up to 92. So that's Litecoin. XRP finally joined the party. And here it is. Okay, we talked about this one as well. I've been wondering about this one. It's been a slow go for a while. But anyway, it broke a 38.2 retracement from the high. Let's go ahead and take that out. And that's a very important one to get past, right? So now coming up and testing this area of old resistance, getting into that zone, see if it can push through. It's probably going to have some problems around 32 cents, maybe 33. If it does break through that, then right here, 35, and then I'm expecting probably a pullback to retest this zone before going on and trying to make new highs. I would totally expect you know, I expect this to break. I expect it to do similar to what Litecoin did. So that's XRP. Let's moving down the line. Let's go to Link. And you know, basically just this thing is just baffling me. It just stays outside the Bollinger. It pulls back in every now and then, but you get that huge spike pulling back inside the Bollinger Band right here, trying to just keep an eye on the ball, the 10 EMA right there at 364. If it should wild spike down, stochastic RSI still looks strong. It's overbought, but things can stay overbought for quite a while and even move higher when it's going down in the case of Link. Could be a bearish divergence, but in the meantime, it's going up, right? So why fight the trend until you see something that tells you otherwise? XTZ, again, wow. I mean, this thing just does not want to pull back. At some point, it has to. I hate FOMOing into something. It broke through another 261.8 retracement today. Here's the other one. Coming up and just hitting some resistance right up there. If it breaks through that, then right up here is next resistance. So there's not a lot of history to go back on this when it just keeps making higher highs. So you have to look at, you know, reverse fibs on the, you know, retrace side or the upside. So very strong. No need to fight it. I mean, unless you're, you know, I wouldn't FOMO into this one, but then again, I said that back here and was totally wrong. So don't listen to me. Look at the charts. ZRX broke through a very tough area right in here, and then is coming up and retesting like this area right over here. So it's stalling a little bit there. I fully expect it probably to get up to around 33 cents, maybe even test 35. This thing just looks really strong and couldn't even test, you know, well, like I say, 35, this high over here. Looks really strong, ZRX. ADA, mentioned this one in the live stream, and even a few nights ago, I said keep an eye on this one very closely. Why? Because it was basing below old resistance, right? This resistance right here, it was basing below that. And I had this red. It was basing below it, but not dropping real far. And it was holding the 10 and the 20 EMAs. And then lo and behold, boom. Mentioned it last night. It was getting close, and then boom, it breaks through. So what's the next thing that happens? Well, much like everything else that we talked about in the live stream that we looked at, when it breaks this old resistance line, it's going to come up and more than likely come back and retest it to make sure that that's really support. And if it does, that's your buy zone. Now, you could get some here. It's a little risky after the break. But, you know, hey, there's a lot of people out there mentioning it. It could just go straight up. But my guess is that it probably comes up and tests close to 700, pulls back, and then that's when it makes its move to the almost 800 SAT area. So we'll keep an eye on ADA. VET, again, trying to get this break. It's like an inverted head and shoulders, kind of a sloppy one. But it did break the neckline, and now it's coming back and retesting it, which is right here around where the 50 EMA is, and the 10 is actually crossing it right now. So this area right here around 70 to 71 should hold, and then you go and retest these fib clusters and eventually make your measured move probably up to around 93. That's VET. Dogcoin, we mentioned this one last night. Just kind of pulling back after breaking above the 200 and 233, coming back retesting. It's a crap coin, I get it, but when you go back and look at it, it's one of those that if you want to throw a couple of pennies at it, you may just, you know, double your money. You never know the way things are. DGB, still in this falling wedge, right? testing the upper boundaries of it, and stochastic RSI staying overbought. So 10's trying to cross the 50, which would be the first time in a long time. But you want to see it break the 200 and the 233. That's going to be the key area for DGB and this resistance zone right here. So keep an eye on it. BAT, broke the 50% retracement today. Let's go ahead and get that out of there. And, came close to the 1272, retracing a little bit. If it does drop back, this area right in here, around where this old resistance was, 10 EMA coming up, should hold it if this is going to be very bullish. And then eventually come up and maybe test and break the 1272 and eventually hit some very difficult resistance, I would think, around 37. So anyway, that's pretty much what I've got for tonight. If you guys have any questions or comments, you know where I'm at in the Discord channel, or you can send me a message on Twitter. Hope this helps. Good luck out there, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks, guys.